Stand by. The program will begin soon.
Two-year investigation by the House Weaponization Committee uncovers a two-tiered system of government. Apparently, they put out a 17,000-page report on this. Through its oversight and investigations, the Select Committee found numerous instances of federal government being weaponized against the American people. For example, the Select Subcommittee highlighted censorship by big tech that led Mark Zuckerberg to admitting Facebook was pressured by the Biden-Harris White House to censor Americans, empowered whistleblowers to come forward and have their voices heard despite retaliation by the Department of Justice and the FBI. They protected the First Amendment, leading to the dissolution of the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, GARM, and other organizations that work to censor American speech. They revealed the weaponization of federal law enforcement against the American people, leading to important policy changes for the Department of Justice and the IRS, and uncovered evidence that Biden's campaign coordinated with 51 former intelligence officials to interfere in the American electoral system weeks before the 2020 presidential election by signing the statement calling Hunter Biden's laptop disinformation. So, is there a labor shortage? Ultimately, the entire need for H-1B workers is predicated on a supposed domestic worker shortage. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the current native-born American labor force participation is around 63%. Meanwhile, the foreign-born labor force participation is a stunning 68%. Importantly, per the Wall Street Journal, census data show immigrants who arrived since the start of 2020 are more than twice as likely to lack a high school diploma as U.S. months. He beat not one but two Democratic opponents, swept all 7 swing states, and became the first Republican to win the popular vote in 20 years. He has realigned American politics, remaking the GOP and leaving the Democrats reckoning with what went awry. I'll tell you what went awry. They suck! Okay, moving on.
Did you know that since 1977, Congress has only passed the budget on time 4 times? The last time Congress passed a balanced budget was in 2001.
That was the
Did you know
Congress?
That over the last 6 years, Congress hasn't passed an appropriations bill on time once? In fact, we have had 17 continuing resolutions in the last 6 years.
6 years.
And since Biden has taken office, we have had over 11 omnibuses pushed through. Congress has only passed a balanced budget 4 times ever, meaning we didn't have a surplus or a deficit.
The mainstream has become fringe, and the fringe has become mainstream. There are platforms, there are people out there that are getting 14 million streams, and we're on cable news getting 1 or 2 million. And so there's
not on CNN.
the whole world out there. Kellyanne Conway, I hate to agree with her, but I do a lot of times. Donald Trump understood that.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday Q&A, and let's, the first question today is from our friend Avocado Siamu, who says, have you ever woke up half naked except for a pair of lace panties, a Foot Locker's employee's ref jersey, and a pirate's eye patch stuck in the slide of a children's playground? AD? I'm becoming concerned. I'm becoming concerned. I would love to hear that story, though. Just out of curiosity, I don't know if I really want to hear that story, but no, I haven't. I feel very discouraged to see many influencers turning on some of our biggest fighters in Congress. Instead of going after the 38 who stand on principle and not raise the debt ceiling, but also didn't support the continuing resolution, why are they going after people like Republican Congressman Greg Murphy, North Carolina 3, who was for the original continuing resolution? Or why not just go after the Democrats who are responsible for this entire mess? Why eat our own strong conservatives, especially over something like the debt ceiling, when no one really wants it raised in the long run? Even if the 38 had voted yes on the American Relief Act, it still wouldn't have passed. So what is the end goal here? To get rid of strong conservatives because we don't 100% agree all the time?
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
House report recommends FBI investigation into Liz Cheney over alleged witness tampering while on the J6 committee. So there's this seems to be blowing up in Liz Cheney's face as opposed to getting shot with birdshot by her dad. Here's another one. Taxpayers fund a disinformation index, but the real fake news is that it's useful. The Department of State wasted $330,000 to fund censorship of non-liberal and conservative media. Historically, the largest purveyor of disinformation is the U.S. government, without question. And now, once again, the government has decided to position itself as the ultimate judge of what is true and what is not. Do you think there exists an animal whose shit is actually super delicious? Oh my God. It would have to be some sort of seafood. I don't know. Avocado salad, what would you consider to be the most disconcerting thing about one could see in the toilet after you got done going to the bathroom? Only things that come from inside you count. Well, I think a 14-foot tapeworm would be kind of disconcerting. You'd be like, what the heck? That was inside of me. Okay. Lord Stanham asks, which member of Congress would you like to catch leprosy? You can name as many as you'd like. Well, let me just start with Jamie Raskin. And Adam Schiff. That's enough. This is lightning round. Avocado Diaby says, why is it that Nancy Mace is the only woman in Congress that does not sound like one of the teachers from Peanuts to me when she speaks? Maybe it's because she's from the South, although her accent is not that pronounced. Somnable Nation, is this the penultimate? Is this the last question? No, it's not. Lord Stanhope, will you have a Merry Christmas? Melancholy. We already explained that earlier. Select a boy, who on The Simpsons has a plan that's good on paper but horrible in execution? Oh, obviously Homer. How many of you remember the name Crystal Magnum? Crystal Magnum. Does that name ring a bell? Anybody? Crystal Magnum. Now, even if you don't know that name, you know. It sounds like a stripper name, doesn't it? Crystal Magnum? That sounds like a stripper name or a porn star name or something like that, right? Well, here's an update in the story of Crystal Magnum. Congress members haven't even received the text yet. The deadline is Friday. This is utter insanity. That is... I don't know if I could be any less accurate or more accurate. I don't know. Congress has last passed a real budget in 1997. Since then, Congress has typically relied on continuing resolutions or omnibus spending bills to fund the government. There should be 12 different funding bills, I guess, normally, and they're doing an omnibus bill and then just put it all on paper the last minute and then just pass it because they want to go home for Christmas. Well, F that shit. So people are saying shut it down. They've typically relied on continuing resolutions or omnibus spending bills to fund the government rather than completing the full budget process as intended by the 1974 Congressional Budget
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know?
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been.
what can be.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Night.
Okay, my only question is, where the hell is everybody? I know where they are. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night on the internet. And welcome back to the P-Dog Night channel, where, is it a mea culpa? No, it's just I have something that's kind of on my mind. Because I know I got a little, well, let's put it this way. There's a lot of negative going on regarding the wildfires, and I just want everyone to remember there are thousands and thousands of people who are being displaced, thousands of losing homes, losing basically they're about kind of losing their livelihood, losing their home, losing everything they own in this terrible event going on in California. And I think it's important that we remember that it's not just the leadership that we can sit there and criticize, but we also got to remember that people are being affected by this, our fellow human beings. And I kind of thought about that yesterday. I mean, I kind of said that yesterday when I was watching people on the internet go after James Woods because he's losing his home. And now I see Mark Hamill, he's losing his home. Opposite ends of the political spectrum. But it is so, it's so important to remember that, hey, these are your fellow human beings. And they're losing a huge part of their life. And so that's why I called it the Pray for California edition, because we do got to remember that we got to have some compassion for the people. Now, we don't have to we can criticize the leadership, but like I said, even the people that I don't like, I don't wish this on anybody, well, unless it's some really super evil super person, but I don't consider Mark Hamill to be evil. I just consider him to be wrong, and I don't like him, and I don't like his politics, but I don't care. It's like I said, if it was Barbra Streisand, I don't care. I don't care if every single person in Pacific Palisades, Malibu, Hollywood Hills, anyone who's being affected by this, if every single one of them voted for Gavin Newsom, I don't care. I still have to have compassion for people. So that was my thought when I said pray for California. And if you are one who prays, pray for these people. They're going to need help. And it's, just like I pray for the people in North Carolina, just like I pray for the people, any victims of hurricanes or any disaster, So just, I need to preface the whole show with that, because I would be doing a lot of criticizing today too, but I want to remember that it's important that we think about the people who are struggling. So anyway, good morning. Welcome to Morning Night Live. I think I said I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night on the internet. Welcome back to the P-Dog Night channel. It's the 9th of January, Thursday, usually FTG Thursday. There's plenty of FTGs to go around, but I'm just kind of halfway there. We're gonna kind of go, and I want to show you, because the other part of that too is I saw something today, this morning when I'm setting up for the show, and it was just another example of that, of how much vitriol there is. And I gotta say, even our president-elect has gone in on this, and I get it. It's his style. He's not the one in charge yet. And I get how he can criticize people, but I think we got to remember there's just people out there that are being affected by this. That my sister lives in California. My mother lives in California. Thank goodness they don't live in the areas affected, but they're in the Los Angeles area, Long Beach, Los Angeles. She's out in the eastern. My sister and my brother-in-law and her family are out in the western part. And both my sisters are out there, actually. Two of my sisters. And I have another sister in the southern part of Los Angeles. So if this keeps going, imagine if this ends up affecting the entire city. You just got to think about people sometimes. So there's my minute of that. Let's say hi to everybody and get the show started, because there's a lot to talk about regarding all this. There's all kinds of stuff. So first in the chat today is Mike Savage. Blarg. How you doing? Hi, way to go. Also, good morning, Avocados Diabli, Tyler F. Resolute Germ, what's up? Good morning, Reaction Puerto Rico. Let's go. Also, JB's in the house, Attack Alpaca. And Renee Mayette. I think people are probably shocked and stunned that I actually started on time. And that's because I went back to work this morning, so I had to... I got home, and I got home at a decent time because, peak stuff at UPS is no longer, so we don't have as much stuff. Plus, there's a huge snowstorm across the east coast of the country, in south and east, and Louisville, Kentucky, where most of our airplanes fly out of, or that's their big airplane hub, and there are not a whole lot of planes flying out of Louisville right now, so we had a little bit less work to do, so here I am. Good morning, Rod Line. What's up? Nature, man-made fire. Or both. Well, yeah, both. So I got home in time to actually set up the show. I'm going to change up my my countdowns. I might even redo my outro today, this afternoon, and we'll see how far I get on that. But anyway, hopefully more people show up. We got how many people we got? We got 12. What? 14 people? Where is everybody? It's probably just not, you're so used to not being on time. I'm sure that's all that is. So anyway, we'll see if I can fill with a little fluff before we get into some super serious stuff. Anyway, thanks to the people who have said, let's go. If you haven't shared the stream, please do so. I see a few of you have, in fact. Good morning, Tyre. Alexander. The Scourge is in the house. Good morning, sir. Thank you to people who have tweeted out the show or shared the show so far. I see Reaction Puerto Rico. Ooh, what am I checking out? I'm gonna have to check this out. Okay, Adam Carolla. Is that him talking about? Let's see. Leave this gym here for all of you. Bring some popcorn. Gavin neighbor. Oh, yeah. Oh, and yes, and I also saw. Anna Kasparian went off. We'll get back to that. Thank you for. I am going to use that today. I forgot. I had that bookmark too. Thanks for reminding me. Reaction on Puerto Rico. Also, thank you to Tyre Alexander, Scribe Light, Dog Thrapple, Banks. Wait, you have a different Avi there, Banks. What's up? That threw me off a little bit. Robert Banks, Reaction on Puerto Rico, and Resolute Germ for tweeting out the show. Plus, we got a Let's Go from Tyre Alexander. I love it. Thank you. Oh, and there's Scribes who repeated my repost of somebody else's repost. Yeah, I had a chuckle this morning. Patriot J, if you're familiar with Patriot J, shout out to Patriot J, said BlackRock about to buy the whole block. Spicy. I wonder how much of Maui BlackRock owns right now. It's funny. I haven't heard a whole lot about the recovery effort in Maui. Anyone have anything on that? If you do, drop it in the chat. I'll click on it and see what's happening in Maui. So anyway, let's get started with the show. Today, Today is a National Day of Mourning for President James Earl Carter. I almost said it like Cotter. Welcome back. Your dreams are your ticket out. No, not that Cotter. Carter. James Earl Carter. Carter. I did it again. What's wrong with my R's? Carter. Veterans Affairs Office of the Department of Veteran Affairs says, on this day of mourning, remember the extraordinary life and legacy of President Jimmy Carter, a devoted leader, humanitarian, and Navy veteran. His unwavering commitment to service and peace and humanity has left an indelible mark on our nation. Now, I'll mourn a former president, regardless of the party. James Earl Carter wasn't as great as he's been made out to be, but I do appreciate his work with Habitat for Humanity. But there's a lot of people being kind of shitty today about Jimmy Carter. And U.S. markets today are closed due to National Day of Mourning for Jimmy Carter. It's almost like Carter is back in the White House screwing up my finances one last time. Oh my God, that's a little rough. Holy shit! Here's another one. On the National Day of Mourning for Jimmy Carter, we'd like to remind everyone that we should abolish the Department of Education. Oh my God. Myth, the government needs to spend more money on education. Truth, the U.S. government budget on education has skyrocketed over the past 30 years while student scores have fallen dramatically. Well, that's true. I know. He's the one who came up with that. Someone has a quote from Jimmy Carter. Oh, that's not even a quote from Jimmy Carter. That's just a Bible verse. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Carter was pretty strong in his Christian faith. So there you go. But President Biden declared January 9th, 2025 a National Day of Mourning for Jimmy Carter. U.S. stock markets, most federal offices, post offices will close, and the flags will fly at half-staff for 30 days, which upsets Donald Trump, I guess. The thing is, having flags at half-staff on Inauguration Day, this would not be the first time. I know, in fact, I think in 1973, on Nixon's second inauguration, I'm pretty sure that's when Herbert Hoover passed, and the flags were half staff at Nixon's inauguration. So whatever. I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, I don't know why Trump would be upset about that, but Trump does have a pretty big ego. Let's just be honest, okay? I love me some Donald Trump, but he has an ego that's, it's there. Let's see. It looks like there's a couple more people, retweeting the show. Thank you. Stargazer Nights. Are you here, Star? No way. Are you here? This show's still going too, right? I should probably check to make sure the stream didn't die. Okay, the stream didn't die. We're good. We got 19 people here. That's a start. If you're here, put some in the chat so I can say hi to you. Good Lord. There's more people here. Let's go here. Speaking of National Day of Mourning, also, I believe, let's see, today will be Jimmy Carter's funeral. He's been laying in, what do you call that when you put him in the rotunda? What do you call that when you put the casket in the rotunda? There's a name for that. Oh, there's some people. Good morning, Robert Banks. What's up? And special can acid, honorable mention, favorite Canadian. Amy Klobuchar says, the funeral's today. Here's some people talking about that. Amy Klobuchar says, today we'll gather in the National Cathedral to honor the incredible life of President Jimmy Carter. In a moment of great division, his legacy brings us together. His legacy doesn't, but Layton State, thank you. I couldn't think, why was my brain not working? Look, we will always mourn a former president. ABC News, the casket of former President Jimmy Carter departed the U.S. Capitol and is en route to the Washington National Cathedral for a state funeral. Follow up and live updates. Like I said. Oh, this is interesting. So this is okay. Someone posted this shot and chaser, Jimmy Carter's funeral bulletin at the National Cathedral tomorrow. Now you're probably not going to be able to read this because it's very small, but they have the words to the song "Imagine," and right next to it, underneath here, is the Lord's Prayer. What's the first line of the song "Imagine"? Imagine there's no heaven. And the first line of the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven. So that's Shot Chaser. That's kind of funny. I don't know. That is funny, actually. Anyone else talking about Jimmy Carter here? No. Well, I'm sure we'll hear more about the funeral day. There's a live feed of there too, heading to the National Cathedral. So rest in peace, Jimmy Carter. I'm not gonna. I'll be polite. Also today is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, which to all the good law enforcement officers out there, and all you bad law enforcement out there, law enforcement officers out there, you can fuck right off. So anyway, here the Secret Service says today is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. We're proud of the dedication and courage our agents and officers exemplify as they uphold our investigative and protective missions every day. Your expertise and service are the foundation of our success. Well, you almost had you had a couple of major failures this year, but maybe you'll learn from it and things will get fixed within the new administration during the Secret Service. Somebody named Tom DiNapoli, the New York State Comptroller, says, I extend my gratitude to the police officers who dedicate their lives keeping our communities and states safe. Thank you for your service and commitment to protecting New Yorkers. Except for in the subways. Sorry. Let's see. And then United States Space Force. They've got one here. I didn't know they had their own X account. Today we thank the many airmen, defenders, and special agent teammates who help keep our Space Force bases safe. All right, there you go. Happy National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. Again, the good officers, thumbs up. To the bad officers, I'd give you a different finger, but not right now on YouTube. Okay, moving on. What else is going on here? A couple things that are in the news. Someone named Joseph Aoun. Joseph Aoun is trending. Now, and that apparently there's a new president in Lebanon, and his name's Joseph Aoun. And apparently he's not a fan of Hezbollah or the Palestinians who staged themselves in southern Lebanon. And in fact, now this is weird because make Lebanon great again. This says Trump craze reaches Lebanon. Big banner congratulating new president Joseph Aoun with the slogan, make Lebanon great again. And he just finished a victory speech. The key points of his speech were confiscating the weapons of the Palestinians in camps and their return to back there, confiscation of any illegal weapons, including Hezbollah, the return of Syrian refugees, and decentralization. Very interesting. So is he the Lebanese is he the Lebanese Trump? Because they like to call people, if they're from another country, they call them whatever their nationality is, and then they call them that Trump. So is this the Lebanese Trump? I don't know. Here's another one. Mabruk to Joseph Aoun, our new president. In 6 years, we can judge his presidency based on whether he implemented active neutrality, addressed Hezbollah's influence, advanced decentralization, Mubarak, I should say, tackled the refugee crisis, protected individual freedoms, and enforced UN resolutions. So we'll see what happens. Let's see. Oh, here's a longer list of his promises. By the way, good morning, Nomad.
Hammer time.
And Darren Root and Lord Stanhope. And anybody else I miss? I got you all good. Trump sitting by Obama at the funeral, and he has Obama laughing his ass off It's crazy how they pretend to hate him. Oh, I haven't seen it. Is that funeral live? I didn't know that. Hey, maybe we'll jump into that. Aoun's main promise, the disarmament of all militias on Lebanese land, the reconstruction of southern Lebanon, the Bekaa Valley, the Daye, with the help of the states willing to invest in Lebanon, to end the Israeli occupation of southern Lebanon, the development of stronger ties between Lebanon and friendly states, the formation of brotherly ties between Lebanon and the new government of Syria. Oh, no. The end of the Syrian refugee crisis in Lebanon, the end of smuggling, drug trafficking, and corruption in Lebanon. Lastly, he promises to make everyone proud to be Lebanese. So we'll see how that goes. Corporal Klinger will be very happy to know that. So there you go. Now, let me go back here to National Mall. Where is it? National Cathedral. I'm see if I can find a live feed. Is there a live feed of the funeral everywhere? Some people are still mad about Trump being named Person of the Year. Here's one of these. Someone put Jimmy Carter, Person of the Year, episode fixed. No. Hang on a second. He looks like Telly Savalas. He does kind of look like that. Joseph Aoun kind of does look like Telly Savalas. Good morning, amazing disgrace. Okay, this is Jimmy Carter was to be honored Thursday with a state funeral at Washington National Cathedral amid a groundswell of tributes honoring the 39th president and the last from the so-called greatest generation. Okay, I don't know. I don't see a live feed of the funeral anywhere on this particular feed. Oh, here we go. President Trump at first. Here is
just joining those in attendance.
This was a few minutes ago. Trump and Melania arriving.
Actually delivered, and we do see for President-elect Donald Trump just joining those in attendance right there. You see his back towards.
I wonder if you said that he and Obama were laughing. I wonder if Donald Trump was saying, "Can you believe these people think I really want to take Greenland?"
Also, President Biden, who will be delivering the eulogy, as well as the Obamas.
I thought this happened
Clintons.
yesterday.
And as
I
you
didn't know this was
mentioned,
today.
it's going to be very interesting, and we see Melania Trump right there as well. There's Mike Pence, his
Mike gave him. Al Gore gave him a handshake.
You were
Mike did.
The body
okay.
language, the demeanor, the interactions is also something that
interesting.
The public will be taking very close notice of today as well.
Yeah, so Stephanie, just a point of kind of
interesting
political privilege here. I was reading that this may be the first.
Because Pence looked up first. Well, Pence always looks kind of a little bit, not dour. He just has that very serious looking face. And he looked up at Trump and then he shook hands with him. But he always has a serious face. Interesting. Good morning, K-Shell. What's up? They big mad. They kind of are, aren't they? Anyway, maybe we'll check some of that out tomorrow. I'd love to see that scene where he and Obama are chuckling it up, though. Anyway, let's move on. Let's see. I did that already. Oh, this is that's from Joseph Aoun. All right, next thing. The Senate, the United States Senate. I'm just doing some news right now. The United States Senate has moved forward with the Lake and Riley Act. The Lake and Riley Act, which mandates the detention of illegal immigrants charged with theft-related crimes, has passed the House with bipartisan support and is now under consideration in the Senate. Several Democrat senators, including John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, have expressed support for the act. The bill's progression reflects ongoing national debates on immigration policy and public safety. So there were looks like 6 Democratic senators willing to pass it through the into the actual voting process, basically bypassing a filibuster. Fetterman, Gallego from Arizona, Kelly from Arizona, Peters from Michigan, Rosen from Nevada, and Slotkin from Michigan. So it's interesting that both Michigan and Arizona Democrats jumped on. Maybe it's because they're in swing states and probably need to get reelected. Of course, Slotkin just got reelected, but I think isn't Kelly up in 2026? I'm not 100% sure. Hello, Mrs. Hayes. Pence always looks like he got a shampoo in his eyes. Yeah, he kind of does. Hello, Mrs. Hayes. So anyway, 6 Democratic senators are now on board to advance the Laken Riley Act. And someone here, this is interesting. I want to hear this. For the 159 Democrats in the House that voted no on the Laken Riley bill, there's a special place in hell for you. You are sick people and do not care about the safety of Americans. Shall we play it? Let's just play it. Let's see what she has to say here.
For the 159 Democrats in the House that voted no on the Laken Riley bill, there is a special place in hell for you. You are sick.
Now, and I'm going to preface this because we talked about this yesterday. There may have been a principled reason to not vote for the bill. I'm not saying that they didn't necessarily have one. But was it a politically expedient reason or was it an actual principled reason? So it's interesting. Good morning, Kara Soldier, by the way.
Sick people that do not care about the safety of Americans. You are not putting America first. Shame on you. How many more senseless crimes against Americans have to be committed at the hands of illegals with a criminal record?
Yeah.
What if this was your daughter, your sister, your mother?
I agree.
For those of you who don't know, Laken Riley was a college
Does the hell have... Oh, here.
For a run and
that better?
Was brutally murdered at the...
Don't boomer me. I turned it down because that other shit was too loud. That's it. I'm not playing it. Fuck it. I'm going to have a temper tantrum now. And besides, she's boring. She's not telling me anything new. Now here's, let's see. Oh, here. Congressman Brandon Gill. I find it utterly repugnant that 159 Democrats voted against Laken Riley Act. This bill is a modest proposal that merely directs DHS to detain criminal illegal aliens who commit burglary or theft on our soil. That bill would have saved Laken Riley's life. Today's Democrats Party is more interested in advancing the interest of criminal illegal aliens than protecting American citizens. Now, the one Democrat that, this is the congressman who said that, and I'm not going to play his soundbite either. The one Democrat we read yesterday said his concerns were that it would detain people accused of such acts. I'm not 100% sure about that. I haven't necessarily read the bill. He said that it has the potential of it's interesting of breaching the civil liberties of someone of just accused. They'd be detained. But again, remember, it's not, they're illegal aliens. And he was saying something to the fact that if, say, for example, an illegal alien was dating a native-born American, and they had a dispute, and then the native-born American said, "Fuck you, I'm going to turn you into the police and say you stole my slingshot." That person could possibly be detained because they're an illegal alien and they're accused of a crime. Now, I don't know why I used the term slingshot, but, you get the idea. And so that was the possible civil liberties concern. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. You would think they would have to be convicted of a crime and then get them the fuck out, detain them until they're kicked the fuck out. So I don't know. Anyway, good morning. Anon, 1, 2, 3. All right. Looks like I have some more notifications. Let's see here. What's going on here? Thank you, Somnambule Nation, for tweeting out the show. And we got an Ice Shack hooker. Yes! Speaking of which, whoa, hang on there. Hello there, honey. Let's turn it down. So we got our, that's a good Ice Shack hooker picture. How about that? Let's go, says this Ice Shack hooker. Speaking of Ice Shack hookers, Avocados Diabli also found me one yesterday. Let me see here. This was the one he really wanted me to see. Let me see if I can find it now. Oh, there we go. Taller than Ed. Oh, no, it was back farther. I'm scrolling. I'll find it. It's in here somewhere. Or was this a mention? I don't remember. Oh my God, I got into a little tiff, so to speak, with Ed Krasenstein yesterday, which I didn't realize it until I replied to something he said, and then I came back 4 hours later and it had like 200 mentions because everyone was arguing about what me and Ed were talking about. What happened to that other ice shack hooker? It was it was like the best one. It was the perfect one. That it was the exact scenario Avocados Diablo was talking about, and I can't find it now. Well, I feel bad. We'll figure it out later. It's anyway, but this is a fine ice shack hooker. I got to tell you. And also thank you also CG Somnambule Nation, and who's this? Amazing Disgrace, and then I already said the rest, and CG with the Let's Go, and then some other people liking whatever they were doing there. So anyway, thank you. People could do that now, though. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm not sure what you meant there, AD. I'm really bummed about the ice shack hooker, though, because it was a really good ice shack hooker. Was it? Oh, was it in my notifications? Where was that? It was like the best ice shack hooker. It was perfect. Well, here, let me try something. What is your Twitter handle, AD? I thought I was following you. Well, I can't find it now. Well, we'll find that ice shack hooker later. And Marty knows his ice shack hose. Yes, I do. Look, ever since that story came out, I've been doing research. Now, it has not been hands-on research, but I've been doing research on the ice shack hooker phenomenon, and I am not a connoisseur, but I am a subject matter expert. So there you go. All right, let's see. What else? Was there anything else? Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is the picture. Here's a picture. Ed Krasenstein put this up here of Trump and Obama. Obama's chuckling. And Ed Krasenstein feels bad. He says, sometimes I think we are all getting played. And here it is too. All sorts of emotions seeing Obama and Trump sitting next to each other. How does it make you feel? I'm in the category of don't give a shit. Doesn't bother me at all. This is one of those, call to action is one of these lefty shill accounts for the Democrats. Let's see how this goes.
Okay, I couldn't see it from the angle I was at. Obama and Trump sitting next to each other, talking to each other there. But President Obama did say hello to Marilyn Quayle and former Vice President Dan Quayle.
Wow, that's such an image.
That is an image.
It's
I mean,
good.
you don't see it's always striking whenever you see any of these people who were political opponents. Although Obama and Trump never ran against each other. Here, okay, I couldn't.
Okay, so there you go. That was them chatting it up, so to speak, yucking it up, and then saw George W. Bush coming in. How do I feel about it? Well, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. All right, so let's start talking about California again. Oh shit! What the hell did I do there? Give me 1 second. I want to. Oh, there we go. I wanted to make sure that tab was correct because I am putting everything in the links today, and I didn't open the articles today because I figured if I scroll through the California stuff enough, I'll find plenty to talk about, and we're just going to do it live. How about that? We do it live. How about that? So, so there'll be a myriad of topics. Obviously, California is trending because of what's happening in California. And again, I want to reiterate for those who weren't here earlier, just to remember that there's a lot of people whose lives are affected. Thousands of people have lost their homes. 80,000 people evacuated in that area of the greater Los Angeles area of Malibu, Pacific Palisades, Hollywood Hills. And maybe more. Now, it's interesting because the fires in the Hollywood Hills didn't happen because of the fires in Pacific Palisades and Malibu. That wasn't the Santa Ana wind spreading them. The fire in Hollywood Hills just appeared, like just broke out without warning with no real source, so to speak. And so that's interesting. Did someone set a fire in the Hollywood Hills? Apparently the Hollywood sign was in danger of burning. I don't know if that's happened yet, which is actually kind of almost apropos because it's kind of Hollywood that tends to be on fire anyway. But one of the common themes that I keep hearing, and maybe it's almost become an excuse, and this is courtesy of Bernie Sanders, because it seems to be the answer to everything for some people. Here it is. Bernie Sanders says 80,000 people told to evacuate. Blazes 0% contained. 8 months since the area has seen rain. Now this is a common one too. It's in a drought, right? Well, let's talk about the area. Well, I'll talk about it in a second. The scale of the damage and loss is unimaginable. Climate change is real, not quote a hoax. Donald Trump must treat this like the existential crisis it is. Okay, that's really interesting. I'm going to go first. Let's talk about the 8 months since the area has seen rain. The area around Pacific Palisades, I looked it up. I did some National Weather Service research, and Malibu averages rain on 42 days of the year. Out of 365 days of the year, it rains on average of 42 days. And that's, I don't know how far that goes back, right? The total amount of rain that this area normally gets in a year, for the entire year, 9 1/4 inches of rain the entire year. That's normal in Malibu. And Pacific Palisades area is not necessarily a desert, but kind of is. So the idea that, oh my gosh, that they've had 8 months without rain, that's pretty normal. Have any of you ever remember the song, "It Never Rains in California"? Remember that song? Maybe you don't. Some of you may not. The reason that song came about because it rarely rains. Now when it does rain, it feels like it's a monsoon sometimes. In fact, I remember when I was a kid, we took a road trip from Nebraska all the way down through the southern states, all the way over to California, and then up to Los Angeles and all that stuff. And the day we hit Los Angeles, because that song was pretty popular back then, and the day we hit Los Angeles, there was this rainstorm, like just crazy rainstorm. They got like 3 inches of rain in 6 hours. And there was like minor flooding or whatever, but it was a ton of rain, like all at once. And we were staying with some friends, one of my mother's friends, and she's like, yeah, that's probably all the rain we'll get for the entire year. So the idea that 8 months without rain in Malibu and Pacific Palisades, that's not unusual. But there has been some drought conditions in California, except over the last 2 years in California, there's been record rain. So the idea that 8 months since the area has seen rain, well, that area doesn't get rain. But California has seen record rain. Okay. Then also, in the Donald Trump must treat this like the existential crisis it is. Look, even your biggest climate scientists, whatever, say there's really nothing that is going to make any major changes to the climate that we can do by ourselves. Okay. So I'm not so concerned about the climate part of this, but everyone, all these people saying that this is about climate change. Okay, let's say that's the truth. Let's say that the California fires are completely the fault of climate change. Do all these people in California who are climate change alarmists, activists, whatever you want to call them, do they know that we're doing climate change? Like, do they know that? Because they talk about it all the time. So if they know that there's climate change, wouldn't you also know that maybe you need to adapt and you need to mitigate some of the effects, like the forest management and the brush management and the water management, since you know it's there, right? So that would have been a reason to be even more prepared for this kind of thing, especially since it just happened in 2018, and it happens about every 10 years for the last century that there's fires in Malibu and the Santa Ana winds kick up fires in Malibu. But there used to be forest management there, and there weren't as many people there. Obviously, the area and population has grown exponentially over the 100 years, but those fires have been happening since the area was part of the earth. This is nothing new. So if you know that, oh my gosh, we're going to have climate change issues that's going to cause these fires and whatever, you would think that the leadership in California would have already been doing something about it. But what? They haven't? Oh my gosh. Well, now let's just let people's houses burn. Now, it's not that they want to let people's houses burn, but they just like, oh, well, we meant to. Oops. We did. Never mind. We fucked up. So it's fascinating that all these people screaming climate change is like, oh, well, you knew there was climate change, right? But what did you do to mitigate the possible damage from these great fires? So anyway, people talking about California, Rob Smith saying California's governor is a Democrat. Los Angeles mayor is a Democrat. California's one-party Democratic rule state. California prioritizes an equity agenda over competence. The horror we're seeing right now is a result of incompetent Democrat governance. Now, there's so many people piling on to the Democrats in California, which of course they have a lot of responsibility because a lot of their environmental policies, their forest management policies, everything that they're doing to save certain animals and beasts, whatever, are not good for humans. Okay, and they're not good for fighting fires. And not good for, filling reservoirs of water, which they've set legislation, they passed legislation to do it, but Gavin Newsom didn't sign it. I don't know what my point is here, other than, I guess my big point of the day is don't forget the people that this is affecting. Blair White, welcome to California, where your tax dollars pay for sex changes for illegals, but you're on your own for the annual cataclysm of fire. We're fighting toxic masculinity. Next time, fight the fire. California, the best at land, has the best land and the worst government in America. Gavin Newsom's failed water and forest management policies helped turn what could be manageable fires into devastating infernos, and Trump called it months ago in his interview with Joe Rogan. Here are the details. So this guy talks this out pretty well. We'll watch this one. This is a good one.
Last night, I had to evacuate my home in LA because of the fires, the effects of which you can see right above me. Upon reflecting, I remembered a conversation that Joe Rogan had with Donald Trump before the election about the state of wildfire management in California. It's very easy to think of wildfires as something that Mother Nature just inflicts upon us, but we have an influence over both the intensity and the frequency of these fires. And Donald Trump pointed out that there's two things that we've done in California that might be exaggerating the effects of these fires. The first is our policy around water management, and the second is our policy around clearing deadwood in our forests. Check this out.
Los Angeles, you can't get proper amounts of water.
Right.
And it's unbelievably expensive. And they're actually thinking about rationing water. Can you believe it? I was in the farm court country with some of the congressmen. We're driving up a highway. And I say, how come all this land is so barren? It's farmland, and it looked terrible. It was just brown and bad. I said, but there's always that little corner that's so green and beautiful. They said, we have no water. I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why don't you have no water? Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north of water, more water than they could ever use. And in order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. I could have water for all of that land, water for your forests. You know, your forests are dry as a bone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dangerous.
That water could be routed. You know, you could have everything.
They don't.
Not only
Okay,
dangerous,
hang on.
Billions of dollars a year they spend on.
They don't irrigate the forests. Okay, so, but in certain parts of California do rain. So that's probably not the issue. But certainly the clearing of, forest management, clearing of dead wood, clearing of basically things that cause blazes to burn hotter is certainly a good idea.
On forest fires.
Now let's look at specifically what Trump was referring to here. In 2023, California implemented what's called the Fall X2 policy. This is a policy that's designed to redirect water away from areas that endanger a specific species of fish called the Delta smelt. Proponents of this policy argue that the Delta smelt are important to indigenous populations as well as important for the overall health of certain other endangered species in that area, like the Chinook salmon or killer whales. And that sounds good, but let's look at what the cost of protecting the Delta smelt actually is. In 2023, we dumped 195.5 billion gallons of water into the Pacific Ocean. That's water that could have been used for firefighting or watering farmlands.
Or just the people of Los Angeles. It's funny. That's an astronomical amount of water to me. So, because I saw a post today, some guy talking about, in Pacific Palisades, they use 3 reservoirs of water, 3 million gallons and they ran out. First of all, 3 million gallons of water. That's 3 water towers, not 3 reservoirs. Because I looked up a reservoir in Los Angeles. One of them, I can't remember which one it was, but a reservoir is like 197 million gallons of water, not 3. An average water tower holds 1 million gallons. So that wasn't it. But anyway.
Happening while we're focusing on scarcity, conservation-based policies, while we're dumping $200 million worth of water into the ocean.
Yeah, no, man, it was. A couple of those reservoirs were completely refilled in California. And for whatever reason, I don't know why they're not routing it down into Los Angeles. It was flooded. You're right. A lot of California was flooded. What was it, earlier in July or something like that, where they got just torrential rain and like some of the reservoirs that were almost empty were refilled. But what happened to that water? Why isn't that water being used?
To protect a relatively niche species. Now that's how we've been wasting our water, but what about our forests?
And there's a case with the environment. They're not allowed to rake their forests because you're not allowed to touch it. When a tree falls down.
And when he says rake, apparently when he was talking to the president of Finland, the president of Finland used the word rake as far as cleaning the forest, not necessarily like with rakes, because people gave Trump a lot of shit for saying, you're not allowed to rake the forest. No, you're not allowed to. Forest management clears out dead wood.
After 18 months, it becomes very dry. It's like, like real firewood. It's bad. But when a tree is up, it sucks water. It's wet. I went to they had a couple of horrible forest fires in California, and I said, you get a lot of trees standing. Yes, they were healthy trees, sir. I said, with this intense heat, that you could see they were charred a little bit on the bottom, but they were going to be all right because they're soaking wet because they suck up the water, right? But when they fall, they're like, it's like lighting a match.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to maintain your forest. So I was with the head of Austria. He said, you know, it's a shame. I see all those forest fires in California, and all they have to do is clean their forest, meaning rake it up, get rid of the leaves, get rid of, leaves that are sitting there for 5 years. And
we'll certainly get rid of the dead.
It's not the leaves. Leaves turn into dirt.
Trees that are falling.
I think that's the real issue.
Environmentally, they don't want to do that. They said, it's got to be nature and all this stuff.
Is there some truth to Trump's claim? It turns out yes. A 2024 study found that approximately 91.4 million dead trees were spread over 27.8 million hectares of land in California. Many people in the environmental lobby will argue that we need to preserve this deadwood actually because it contributes to the natural habitat that many endangered species rely upon. But here's an example of where trying to do good actually ends up doing bad. For approximately 10 years, there was an environmental lobby that opposed clearing deadwood in the Klamath National Forest because they were trying to protect the natural habitat of spotted owls and endangered species. This caused a multi-year legal battle that ironically resolved itself when the Klamath National Forest ended up actually burning down because of the deadwood that they were trying to use to protect the spotted owl population. These kinds of misguided attempts to protect the environment in California not only keep on ruining the environment, it's ruining human lives. And here's my personal frustration. California has the best land and the worst government in the United States. We have incompetent politics.
Oh, no, their government's just... Never mind, they suck.
Politicians who constantly focus on things that sound good while actually doing bad. And they focus on first-order consequences while ignoring second-order consequences. They constantly focus on popular slogans like needing to protect our environment and climate change and protecting the fish and protecting the trees while ignoring the second-order impact on humans. And ironically, like in the case of the spotted owls, in their attempt to protect endangered species, not only are they harming humans, oftentimes they're not even protecting the endangered species.
They destroyed their habitat.
And to take this a step further, I think California's government represents a dysfunctional, far-left worldview that is consistently not producing results, it's just producing heated conversations. We spend more money on homelessness every year, while the amount of homeless people just keeps on increasing every year. We have reasonable people who are afraid to speak up because we don't want to be labeled as climate change deniers just for questioning some of these dysfunctional environmental protection policies. We have a governor in Gavin Newsom who left San Francisco a failed city and is slowly turning California into a failed state. This is the same governor, by the way, that during COVID recommended that we quarantine at home while he dined at the French Laundry. Ultimately, in moments of crisis like this, I am grateful that we have a government, but our government could be doing a lot better.
All right, so that was probably the best one I saw. There's a bunch of other ones. So anyway, and this was back when they got the new fire chief. Firefighting is mostly white and male. A California program aims to change that. Again, I don't care what color my firefighter is. If they can carry me out of a building, they're pretty fucking strong. Anyway, so other things trending. Here we go. Wildfires evacuate 80,000 in dry Southern California. So this is probably basically what Bernie was saying. Southern California is currently battling multiple wildfires, including significant Palisades fire, which has led to the mandatory evacuation of over 80,000 residents. Where do 80,000 people go? That's crazy. Now, it was interesting because one of my friends posted something that from California, and they said that they personally rented out like 60 rooms at a hotel, and said, you know, if you need a place to stay, come do it. I was like, wow, that's pretty fucking cool. Anyway, discussions. Okay, polarized views. Blah blah blah. So Scott Adams, Senator Sanders, as a Californian, I respectfully ask you to delete this post. No California thinks climate change dried up the fire hydrants and canceled the fire insurance. Read the room. Okay, so he's responding to Bernie Sanders and what we just read earlier. Breaking, Bernie Sanders says the California wildfires is proof that climate change is real. It does. Again, everyone pushing the climate change part of this. Who gives a shit right now? How about figuring out why the fire, if you knew it was climate change and you've been barking climate change for years, and you know that we've had just, what was it? It was only 6 years ago that they had the fires in that same area, Malibu, and they lost a bunch of property, whatever. And so what fire mitigation efforts did you do after those fires? And I'm looking at Gavin Newsom. I'm looking at the mayor there. I'm looking at all those people. You know, what did you do? Obviously, and you had and the legislature passed a bill to fill the reservoirs and create more reservoirs. And Gavin Newsom, for all practical purposes, blocked it. So, Gavin Newsom, interesting. You have to be retarded to believe the best way to prevent damage from brush fires is to lower the temperature of the entire planet by a few degrees. That's, again, people are responding to Bernie Sanders. But again, here we go. The scale of damage and loss is unimaginable. Climate change is real, not a hoax. I don't know if he's making fun of Bernie Sanders or agreeing with Bernie Sanders. Having fire hydrants that don't work has nothing to do with climate change, you moron. Yeah, especially when you had record rains over the last couple of years. So a lot of people chirping at Bernie Sanders over that. And also Gavin Newsom is trending because he and Trump are going back and forth. And I kind of wish Trump would also remind himself that the people of California could use some encouraging words. You know, his administration is about to come in here in 11 days. And is he going to be better than Joe Biden? Now, Joe Biden's staff did declare an emergency and offered all the help they can and whatnot, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of people are criticizing Gavin Newsom. So this is lived at TikTok. In 2014, Californians overwhelmingly voted to spend billions of water on water storage and reservoirs. Gavin Newsom still hasn't built it. Now no water is coming out of the fire hydrants. Okay, and here it is. Voters back $7.5 billion water bond. Now, and then Los Angeles Times, this is, have no Prop 1 water projects been built in California? No, but they are moving slowly. You know, a lot of it is they're draining off some of the reservoirs that exist, and that's a problem. You know, why are they allowing that? The only thing more criminal than politicians like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass facilitating this disaster are the zero repercussions they will face by facilitating the disaster. Yeah, does anyone in the chat think that Gavin Newsom or Karen Bass will pay a price for this? Now, it's interesting. Let me pull up. Oh my gosh. Oh no. James Wood just called for tribunals for Newsom and any California official responsible for the water shortage in LA. Yeah, I don't know about that. Tribunal? That sounds pretty harrowing.
Laura, with all due respect, if it is true that things were handled this way, if it is true that Gavin Newsom is the absolute blithering idiot that I believe he is in the way he has handled fire management in this state again and again and again and again, this isn't a wake-up call. This is the kind of thing they have tribunals for, where they try people and say, you had an oath of office to perform certain duties. When you're the fire chief, this isn't a social justice exercise that you're in charge of. This is you getting water to areas that need water because there are fires in 100-mile-an-hour winds burning houses to the ground. Laura, with all due respect.
So, granted, you know that James Wood's emotional because he's lost his home. Many people have, and I understand that. Let me go to this. Let me go to Karen Bass, though, because in some ways, Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, is getting a bad rap, and in some ways, maybe. It's not a bad rap, but let's start with this one because I'll open a couple of articles here. So in this one, Democrat Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass in Africa as her city burns. Okay, she came back, by the way. But this is an article in Breitbart, which it's unfair for a certain reason, and then it's fair for a certain reason. I'll get to it. But here it is. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass spent Tuesday in Africa as part of a taxpayer-funded delegation attending the inauguration of John Dramani Mahama as Ghana's president. The Democrat was there as her city battled wildfires and thousands of residents fled for their lives. CNS News reports Shalana DeYoung, the director of the U.S. Office of Management and Budget, headed the delegation to Accra, Ghana's capital. It's also consisted of Virginia E. Palmer, the U.S. ambassador to Ghana, and Francis Z. Brown, special assistant to the president, and the National Security Council senior director for African Affairs alongside Bass. Now, the fact that the fire broke out while Karen Bass was in Ghana, and she did come back, and we'll get, that's the next article. That's not her fault, okay? Fire start in Los Angeles, that's not her fault that it happens while she's out of the country. My question is, why did the Office of Management and Budget, whoever decided that Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, who decided the mayor of Los Angeles needed to go to Ghana for the inauguration of the new president of Ghana? What was this? Who thought of this idea? I don't understand. Is it because she's a black woman or a former congressman, or was she friends with the president and someone said, hey, we got an extra spot. You want to go to Ghana? What is that about? I don't understand it. Hello, Midnight in Exile, by the way, and Blue Eyed Scream. But this particular criticism that she was there when the fire started, she did come back. I mean, what was she supposed to do? I mean, she's not on the volunteer fire department. So that doesn't bother me so much. City leaders do that kind of nonsense shit all the time. Yeah, I know, and I don't understand it. If they're doing a specific deal, hey, we got a company that's bringing some, 700 or 800 jobs over here. I might go to that city where let's say the company's based in Accra, Ghana, and some entrepreneur from there is going to, put a factory in the United States. I can see there's a reason to go there, maybe if it's on, helps paid for by their dime or something. But for this, I don't understand it. But anyway, so she comes back from Ghana, and apparently she was in the airport and someone was questioning her about what's happening in Los Angeles. And part of it is because the Los Angeles Fire Department, we talked about this yesterday, she cut the Los Angeles Fire Department budget by $17 million, which is, a small fraction of the entire budget. I think it has an $800 million budget, but still, this is the largest cut she made in Los Angeles finances, because when she came in there, the Los Angeles was in a financial crisis. They probably spend too much money on housing, illegal aliens or whatever. So that's going to be a major criticism. Plus, the city of Los Angeles sent a bunch of their surplus firefighting equipment to Ukraine. So those, now, is that the cause of the fires? Is that why they can't fight these fires? Not necessarily. But it's not a good look. Plus, I believe it was Karen Bass. No, it wasn't Karen Bass. There was her predecessor who hired the new fire chief, whose main obsession or whatever with the fire department was to have it be more inclusive. The combination of those things, not a good look. So anyway, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass nearly fell in total silence when questioned by a reporter about the incompetent response to the wildfires crushing the city amid the an unprecedented windstorm. Do they have? Where's the clip? They don't even have. Here it is. Here's the clip. I'm not even going to read the whole article. They did talk about her being on a taxpayer-funded delegation attending an inauguration of John Dramani Mahama as Ghana's president, which, again, I don't know why the mayor of Los Angeles had to do that. There's a lack of wildland firefighters. Yeah, I'm sure there are. Hello. Oh, what does it say? Oh, OSAS is false. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Hit subscribe or whatever, you know. So anyway, but here's this clip of her, I believe, coming in from the airport, and there's a reporter there, and the reporter decides to ask her a few questions, and this is some deer in the headlights, or she just don't want to answer.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Can you back up? Appreciate it. Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing?
She doesn't look like she wants to be there. I'm just saying. Now, is this a fair way to get answers from the mayor? Maybe. Or maybe not. But she could have just said, you know what, we're going to have a press conference. You can come to the press conference later. Or we'll have some press availability at this time or that time. Not just ignore it completely. Or, we'll be answering questions as soon as I get more information. She's just getting in from the airport. But anyway, she don't look like she wants to be there, I'll tell you.
Nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster?
In fact, she looks like she's almost
no apology for them?
Almost in tears.
Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
And again, the kind of thing, like, did she leave when this started? That's the only part I don't understand. Did the fires already start when she left for Ghana? Was this like already, I don't think it was, because these delegations, they tend to go long enough to make it kind of a little vacation, but whatever. Whatever. You don't understand. She's too stupid for this situation. That's why she was installed. She wasn't installed. She was elected. She wasn't installed. Karen Bass was elected mayor. So no, it wasn't. This was not a DEI thing. Again, I don't like everything being called DEI just because it's a woman or a black face, but like although the fire chief, that's all the fire chief seems to be interested in. But anyway. And then, okay, she walks away. Yeah, she wants no part of this reporter. And, it's probably your job. Is this a Ted Cruz situation? Yeah, a lot of people are comparing it to Ted Cruz, I guess. But, look. Yeah, Ted had a vacation planned in Mexico, and that's when the cold happened in Texas, as if Ted Cruz was the guy who comes out and fixes the power lines. Same thing with Karen Bass. Karen Bass is not the person who is out there fighting the fires, but she is the mayor. She's the figurehead. She should be there, and she did come back to, obviously meet with whatever officials she needed to.
Madam Mayor, let me ask you just again, have you anything to say to the citizens today as you return?
No. Ma'am, hold on 1 second.
Madam Mayor, just a few words for the citizens today as you return to deal with the catastrophe.
Can you take this down?
David, as you say, she wasn't very keen to answer any of your questions there. And fire chiefs are also admitting that they just don't have enough personnel to take out the fires.
Yeah, they're fighting all sorts of challenges. They're talking about a water shortage. There are reports of fire hydrant failures. They've been unable to use firefighting aircraft for much of the day due to the smoke that is billowing ominously from the hills where the wildfires are raging. And I suppose despite that political storm, this is, of course, at its heart, a human story, because we've now 80,000 people evacuated. Tens of thousands of others are on standby to be evacuated. 2 lives have been lost in the Eaton fire, which is what's causing the consequence behind us. The city's iconic landscape almost shrouded completely by the smoke. And they're really just taking it one step at a time, hoping at some stage the wind's going to change direction or to die down, and that they're going to be able to get this fire under control.
Yeah, if the wind changes direction, I don't know, that'd be good either, would it? So anyway, like I said, I don't know that she left when the fire started, but I understand why people are taking her to task for a series of decisions that they've made in California that have exacerbated the problem. And that seems to be the problem they're dealing with. Now, obviously, again, climate change is trending. And I talked about that earlier, but lots of people talking about this too. So let's go to Grant Cardone. He's used to be on the what was that show where they try to pitch business ideas. Anyway, he says California fires will be blamed on climate change, but do not believe it. These fires will produce hundreds of billions in losses due to incompetence, corrupted budgets, and an oppressive coastal commission, overregulation, bizarre environmental initiatives, homeless camps, and freak liberal agendas, all combined with no common sense. Santa Ana winds, low humidity, and fires have existed in the state of California forever. That is the truth, man. Shark Tank, thank you. I couldn't remember the name of the damn show. The state's lack of leadership, Newsom has been unwilling to invest in permanent solutions like burying electrical, increase access to plentiful water, and managing forestry floors instead of wasting hundreds of billions of dollars on high-speed rails to nowhere, liberal agendas, and climate conspiracies. I want to thank Malibu Fire Department for doing their best to save our home in Carbon Beach. They were amazing and heroic. So this is Grant Cardone. So he lives there, and seems some limited access. I mean, this was on the beach. It was on fire. So he's also lost home there. Echo what? Was that me echoing? Oh, I see. All right. Anyway, that was something else. Let's see. Here's one. We need to clean up the kindling in the woods. No. Well, we should store up water. No. Okay. So, can we keep dams in place? No. Fire breaks out. This is because of climate change. Shut up, bitch. That's funny. And let's see. My heart breaks for California. My sister lives in North Hollywood, and I'm scared. But the sad truth this weekend, exactly what we vote for as a state and our nation. Thank you, Donald J. Trump. All right. Let's see. Oh, by the way, now this, I don't know if this video that's been going around is from this year. Hello, Selecta Boy.
Yeah, boy.
But we saw this one too yesterday of this homeless guy building a fire. Oh, turn that down. That's really loud. During the Santa Ana winds, you probably don't want to build a fire, but I do not think that is from this year, because I think I've seen this in the past. Who knows? We'll skip Malcolm here. Democrats let druggies start fires, underfund police and fire, don't put water in basins, then blame climate change. Yeah, that's the Bernie Sanders one. Here's another one. Climate change is so destructive. First, it cut the fire department funding by millions. Then it fired the strong, able-bodied white men and replaced them with frumpy lesbians. We have to stop this evil climate change. Yeah. So remember we were talking about the the fire chief, and apparently, these are the new fire chiefs in the region. All three. I can't say with 100% certainty that these three people were not excellent firefighters. But after we listened to the agenda of the fire chief, it didn't seem like her focus was on firefighters, rather on the demographics of firefighters. And there's a good clip of Adam Carolla, who apparently had applied to be a firefighter at one point and couldn't get an interview for 7 years because of his demographic. Let me go back to this. Let me go back to the clip that Reaction sent me. It's not the same one, but this is it right here. There's two of them here, I believe. I'm going to move the whole clip to a separate link. Let's see here. All right, so here's what Reaction sent me. First of all, Anna Kasparian. You know how Anna Kasparian seems to just be drifting further and further away from the TYT roots, and not because she's not super liberal anymore, but just because she's discovering that so much shit that her fellow liberals do is bullshit. Well, here's a rant on X by Anna Kasparian. Because someone's complaining here that one billionaire couple owns almost all the water in California. They say in 1994, the residents secretly seized control of California's public water supply. Now their company uses 150 billion gallons every year while working class people suffer under drought conditions. Well, wait a minute. Is this the reason there's fires in Malibu? Oh, wait. Anna Kasparian says California, especially Los Angeles, is controlled by Democrats. If those billionaires own the water in California, you can thank the Democrats for that, not anyone else. And they are responsible. No more passing the buck. Our mayor, who was in Ghana as fires exploded in our city, cut the fire budget by $17 million. Endless amounts of money funneled to bullshit, scammer, homeless nonprofits. We're the highest tax, yet we have encampments and squalor everywhere. Even worse, we don't have enough firefighters to respond to the absolute disaster we're experiencing right now. Rather than conserve the record rain we got last year, we just drained it into the ocean. We are a failing city run by a sick excuse for local government. You want to radicalize people against the modern Democratic Party? Send them to LA. Oh my God, what is going on with Anna? What is going on with her? So Adam Carolla, Adam Carolla, never in a million years would I think I'd agree completely with Anna Kasparian. Well said. Then is this here's an Adam Carolla interview talking about Gavin. This was an interview that he did with Gavin Newsom. Wasn't this the time that Gavin Newsom never came back? Should we play this? Why not? Hello, GDSOB. What's up? Oh, and did I do Select a Boy?
Yeah, boy.
I think I did. Should we? Well, let's just see what this is. Thank you, Reaction.
Half of African Americans in the state of California, roughly half of Latino families, have no access to a checking account or an ATM. Things we take for granted. They don't have a check.
What's wrong with them?
And well, because they don't have the resources to sock those things away.
Well, why do we have them?
A lot of different reasons, but roughly half those families don't. And where do they
why
end
do
up?
Armenians have them?
But where they end up?
Don't have access to. What do you mean don't have access to them? You go open one. Hey, what are you talking about? Oh my God, This is the black people can't get IDs argument that Gavin Newsom's making. Maybe some people don't have checking accounts because they don't want them. Maybe the illegal people just work in cash. Who knows why? It's not like they can't get them. What is he?
Is in check cashing places.
But I want to know why those
groups,
why those two groups don't have access.
Well, a lot of it just happens to be that we can
So
talk
they're
about.
flawed?
This. No, they're hardly flawed, but they're struggling.
Genetically
Folks are making
flawed.
their word. Hardly, not absolutely.
But okay,
not.
do Asians have this problem?
I mean, a lot of communities have. A lot of whites have these problems.
Oh,
but
so that's not just black and Hispanic.
No, but
why do you bring up black and Hispanic?
Because the magnitude is ominous.
But why so many of them?
It just happens to be the
magnitude.
magnitude.
That's the way God planned it?
Not at all.
Well, what happened to
There are a lot of issues, and that the communities are struggling. A lot
Why
of new
are they
immigrants.
struggling?
A lot of different reasons. Lack of
Hispanics
opportunity.
have been here. Blacks have been here longer than we've been here.
Well, we can surmise.
What
all
about
that.
Asians? They were put in internment camps.
Yeah, in fact, it all initiated at San Francisco, and
All
the
right.
Chinese Exclusion Act came
So
out of progressive San Francisco.
Are they the check cashing
a
places?
lot of Asians certainly do.
Oh, so why don't you conclude them?
The only reason why is the magnitude of
There's
the
so
problem.
many more.
The magnitude in percentage
But there's no
terms
way to figure out how that happened.
of Africa. We could talk about it. You know what I'm dealing with? I don't want to have a sociological debate.
Sure,
I want
why
to deal
would
with
you?
No, here's why.
Why would you want to do that? Because the person from the Times wouldn't write good things about you if you did that.
No, that's not the case because I
You
want to
don't
deal
wanna
with
get into
reality.
that.
No.
You want to deal with reality.
I want to deal with the
what
reality of people
is.
that are struggling. People are suffering. I
Oh,
want to deal
I
with the
love
problems
this.
in a
Why are
pragmatic
they
way.
struggling
I don't
and
want an
suffering?
idea. We can hold hands and surmise about all these
Why
underlying
are they?
reasons.
I don't want to do that.
but
I want to know why
focus
they're
on the
struggling.
challenge.
Why are they struggling?
A lot of folks are struggling because they can't find
Why
jobs.
blacks and
because
Hispanics?
they're working.
Why blacks and Hispanics?
Across the board, all
Why?
socioeconomic.
Okay, so everybody is.
Everybody struggles.
So Asians are suffering just as much as blacks.
The face of welfare is not an African American family.
So it's Asian, Jewish, it's all of them.
Caucasian. It's
Okay,
a lot of
so
folks
we're all
in society.
struggling.
A lot of folks are struggling.
Okay.
So
a lot of folks are
So
struggling.
if I go down to the check cashing place, lots of Jews and Asians.
There are.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
just checking you. Just checking the math.
Absolute fact.
I'm
but
just wondering why you singled those two out.
because the percentages.
Because
and
you
I think-
can, and you can make us black people and Hispanic people, you can pull on heartstrings and make us look pathetic when it's like, no, if you just say everyone can do shit, then everyone will do shit, you know? But you're almost telling people that they can't do things and something's holding them back. And I like how Corolla did this. He fucking killed him.
These things matter, are profound.
So why? That's my question.
Well, I think there are a lot of reasons why. And
Yeah.
you want to go back to issues of racism? I'll do that. You want to go back to the debate we're having about the Voting Rights Act
Yeah.
and the fact the Supreme Court wants to take away Section 5?
What about their families?
You want to no, but you
wanna
want to talk
about their families?
But I understand that families are incredibly important. That's certainly part of it.
Yeah,
and people have to be
very
responsible.
small part of it. It's minuscule.
It's a big part of
Oh,
it.
big.
It is a big
Oh,
part.
well,
But
why
all
don't you
these
guys
things
talk
are
about
part of
that
it.
then? If it's a big part,
I just brought it up.
If it's a big part.
I
It's
just
a big
responded
part.
to
It's
it.
a big part that you never talk about.
I do talk about.
No
that.
one
I
on
talk
your
about all
side
this.
talks about that big part.
I think President Obama himself brings it up over and over
Yeah.
again. Go back to his campaign speeches.
Sure.
He's given some remarkable speeches of
Sure.
importance of fathers in the context of the African American.
Yeah, you got to be a hero.
struggle.
You got to be a hero to raise your kid.
No, well, you have to
It takes
be
courage.
responsible
It takes
adult.
courage to raise
You
a
have to
kid.
be
I heard his
responsible
speech.
adult.
It takes courage, Gavin.
I don't know about courage.
That's
I
what
think it
your
should be
president
inherent.
said.
No, but to his
Well,
credit,
let's hear
he's given
what he
some
says.
eloquent speeches.
Let's hear what he says. It says it takes courage.
And will work to strengthen families by removing the financial deterrence to marriage for low-income couples, and do more to encourage
Financial
fatherhood.
deterrence? Wait a minute. Okay, okay. I know this has nothing to do with fires. The financial deterrence to marriage for low-income couples. You would think that there would be a advantage to marriage for low-income couples. Low-income couple, because you combine your two low incomes and at least come up with a medium income, or at least get the a little tax break for being married. I don't know what that means.
Because what makes you a man isn't the ability to conceive a child.
That's right.
It's having the courage to raise one.
Courage.
Yeah, I don't know.
Courage.
I get your
courage.
point, but at least he made the point that I imagine
made the
you
point
accept that it's easy to
like-
have one.
Yes.
But you've got to actually step up and be a man and actually raise one. And he
Right.
probably used. I think that's
Listen,
what
Gavin,
ultimately.
I know
he's
what you're
saying.
saying.
No.
Anybody can eat at an IHOP It takes courage to pay the bill.
I don't.
Oh my! I forgot all about that interview. I know I've heard it before, but it's been so long that I forgot how well that went. And that's how people got to handle Gavin Newsom, because Gavin Newsom's a slick talking MFer. Another thing, a couple other things that are trending that I got to get out of here because this is all trending show. Ron DeSantis is trending. Apparently, Florida Governor Ron. There's two things he's talking about here. One, because he's offering prayers to the people of California. Some people are talking the contrast between him and Trump. Stark contrast in leadership styles between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. One man offers help and the other uses tragedy as an opportunity to dunk on his political opponents. God willing, one day class and decorum will return to higher office. Well, Donald Trump's not in office, so he has the ability to not have to have the decorum right now. But you know, the last time there were wildfires in California, Trump was out there like as soon as he could be, and out there standing right next to Gavin Newsom, telling him that the federal government will do their part to help people with the wildfires. But he can't do that right now, whereas Ron DeSantis is a governor, and if he wants to send help, he can. So here's Ron DeSantis, and I respect Ron DeSantis. I don't have any problem with him. Our prayers with everyone affected by the horrific fires in Southern California. When disaster strikes, we must come together to help our fellow Americans in any way we can. The state of Florida has offered help to assist the people of California in responding to these fires and in rebuilding communities that have been devastated. Awesome. Outstanding. And they're contrasting that to Trump, who says one of the best and most beautiful parts of the United States of America is burning down to the ground. Its ashes, and Gavin Newsom should resign. This is all his fault. Okay. They have a different position in leadership right now. I guarantee if this happened a month from now, Donald Trump would be doing the presidential duty type thing. So whatever. And then also there's a post of him outlining the problem with the H-1B visa program. He wants Congress to get involved and fix the fraud and abuse that happens, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, imagine Governor now, but here, I got to get into Anderson Cooper, though. Now, this one's Tommy Lawrence says, imagine Governor Ron DeSantis responding with, the locals will have to figure it out in the midst of a natural disaster in the state. Okay, here's this. This is one of the interviews with Anderson Cooper, with Governor Newsom. He's out in the. It's funny. Okay, I'll say it in a minute.
What is the situation with the water? Obviously, in Palisades, ran out last night in the hydrants. I was talking to the firefighter in this block. They left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
The local folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just when you have a system that's not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large-scale fires, whether it be pipe, electric.
Okay, I think he meant the local officials, not the local, not the residents. But anyway,
whether it just be the complete overwhelm of the system. I mean, those hydrants are typical for 2 or 3 fires, maybe one fire. You have something at this scale, but again, that's going to be determined by the local.
What is the situation?
By the local officials. The locals will have to figure this out in the midst of a national disaster in the state. Okay, I know what they're saying there. So anyway, trees are trending because trees and fires and shit. Salt is trending. A lot of people are talking about using Pacific Ocean water as for firefighting. Someone says the fact that they are forced to use salt water is a bad sign. Also, the salt water is going to kill the forest they drop it on. It's not their fault they need to use salt water. It's Gavin Newsom's fault. Therefore, all the responsibility and blame for the dead forest from salt water is on him because they're using tankers that take water from the ocean and using it to fight fires. And there's also people talking about the I'm not familiar so much with the SALT program that has to do with taxes in high tax states. But apparently someone says when Trump originally cut SALT, as a New Yorker, I paid a lot more in federal taxes because our crazy high state local tax bill was no longer being subsidized by fiscally responsible states. although they heard it was 100% right thing to do for the country. I'm going to just put a link to an article on that. I don't know enough about it, and I'm not going to get into it now because I'm out of time. But Anderson Cooper is trending, and David Muir from ABC News is trending. Two national reporters, one for This Is CNN and one for ABC News, who are in Los Angeles already, out there doing interviews on the street and stuff. And some people are questioning that. Some people are questioning that. And here's one of the tweets about that. Good morning, number one. Who says, me looking for Anderson Cooper and David Muir on the ground in Western North Carolina. They sure got to California in a hurry. Now, let me just, that is funny. And it's funny because, Los Angeles is a major, metropolis, and the parts of Western North Carolina, a lot of those towns weren't even there anymore, so they don't even know what town he would go to. But you sure didn't get Anderson Cooper to go to Western North Carolina after the floods there. Although I remember, everyone has to remember this shot. Yes, I can imagine Anderson Cooper doing another one of these. But here it is. So lots of people are saying, what the F are Anderson Cooper and Gavin Newsom doing standing in front of a burning building? Oh, right. They're making sure people know Trump is bad. And here's what is this part here? Hang on a second.
Phase. We're in the public safety phase.
I hate to even ask this question, but the president-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this.
It's one can't even respond to it. I mean, it's people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it.
Yeah. As if all those people, when the North Carolina disasters happened, weren't out there saying, well, this is karma for all you MAGA people who don't believe in climate change. Yeah, none of you, everyone politicized this shit, and it's unfortunate. Again, I say, as I said at the beginning of the show, pray for the people in California. There's a lot of people displaced, a lot of people losing homes, 80,000 people evacuated. Pray for these people. I mean, this is devastating for those people. Put yourself in those shoes. But it is absolutely appropriate to criticize people who have exacerbated the problem, like Gavin Newsom. And so Donald Trump's not president. Buck stops with you, Gavin. Sorry. Also, Anderson Cooper just blamed people using water to save their home as the reason there's no water for the fires. Here's Anderson Cooper, another Anderson Cooper greatest hit.
But there's just the lack of water is a problem. In the Palisades, the water issue is according to authorities, is a gravity issue. In order to get the water through the hydrants up in the hills and the mountains, they have these giant water tanks that use gravity, and those water tanks ran dry. Part of the problem is a lot of people are using hoses, trying to understandably hose down their lawns, hoping that will stop the fire. A lot of firefighters will say that's not going to stop a fire like this from burning down your house. You may keep your lawn, but it's not going to keep your house. But there's this huge water usage all of a sudden, and those tanks on the top.
What do you expect?
There may be water in the system down below, but if the tanks on the top run dry, there's not enough pressure for gravity to bring the water up into the hydrants. That's in the Palisades. I don't know the water system here in.
The shot here in front of the fire, like him standing there in front of the fire, is that even necessary? Couldn't he be in a studio in front of a green screen saying this shit? Of course, he wanted to go interview Gavin Newsom on site because, that's much more dramatic. But I don't know. Hello, Life on GPS. Welcome to the show. I don't know if you're new here, but hope you could come back again. I'm here Monday through Friday around 9 o'clock Eastern. Or no, 10 o'clock Eastern. 9 o'clock my time. Anyway, welcome to the show. So anyway, Anderson Cooper rushed his ass out to California. And then David Muir from ABC News, I think he's the World News Tonight anchor, decided to go out to California. And, well, this guy is wearing this fire jacket, but they have clothespins pinned to the back of it to make it look like to keep his nice svelte figure. I don't know. What is the point of this shit? Look at this. This is crazy. So he's out here reporting on the fires.
Shopping, a place to eat. Tonight, as you can see here behind
now look, he turns.
There are still flames.
And look, he's got clothespins holding it so he, so it's more like a fitted suit.
Burning from multiple buildings here and smoke rising from the ash. Again, this is where the community would be at a time of.
So everyone's making fun of his sorry ass. It's like, you're ABC News apparatchik, Little Demon, David Muir, holds his jacket in place with a clothespin. God, it's like, oh yeah, he's, that's funny. This is other footage of David Muir. Oh Lord. Okay, is there anything else I got here before I go today? Oh, resign is trending. And I'm going to go to our friend Kira Davis, who is beyond angry about Karen Bass. Let's watch Kira Davis, who is a California resident and a conservative.
I just watched Mayor Karen Bass, who only just now, a couple hours ago, landed in Los Angeles, the city that she's the mayor of, the city that has been on fire for well over 24 hours. She finally arrived from Ghana because I guess she really had to attend the inauguration of the president of Ghana. I guess that was really important work to do with the taxpayer money of Los Angeles.
Mayor of
so she finally figures out how to get back to Los Angeles, gets off the plane at noon. A Sky News reporter confronts her, and what does she do? Nothing. She stands there in silence, looks straight ahead. Do you know why? Because our California politicians believe that they don't have to answer our questions. That's how they've been living in this ecosystem. Thank you to the sycophants at LA Times and Sacramento Bee and everywhere else that has never asked a hard question
Kira.
Or never requested a follow-up to an idiot answer from any of our politicians ever. And now we're all paying.
Okay. What did they bleep out? You know what they bleeped out.
The price for it. I frankly think you people are complicit in this mess. You don't hold our politicians accountable, and it's literally your job. I don't want to hear your about we speak truth to power. Trump, Trump, Trump.
When do they speak truth to power to Gavin Newsom in the Los Angeles Times, or the Sacramento Bee, or the Oakland whatever the hell newspaper they have there that nobody reads?
You're killing us with your incompetency. Karen Bass needs to resign now. And frankly, every member of the Los Angeles Times board needs to resign too. All of progressive California media needs to take 1 million seats. You've betrayed us, you're pathetic, and you're the reason Karen Bass thinks she can stand there and not answer her own constituents as to why she has been AWOL while her city burns to the ground. Karen Bass needs to resign now.
Tell him, Kira. And let's see, what was the last one? Oh, the only other tab I have open is North Carolina. That's going to be it for today, guys. Let me drop all these links in the chat, and I only have the aggregator today from, oh, shoot, I just closed the one. I shouldn't have closed that. Here, let me reopen that tab real quick. There we go, reopen close tab. Okay, that's good. And today I'm just going to put the ACE aggregator. There's a ton of other news, but I didn't talk about any of it. So if you want to, there's plenty of news stories from my favorite aggregator, JJ Sefton at the Ace of Spades blog. Those will be in the links too. Here we go. Let's drop those in the chat. Give me one moment. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. I feel so much better than I did over the last few days, and I appreciate you all bearing with me with my late start times and often sick ramblings and talking about puke and vomit and all that other stuff. I guess puke and vomit are the same thing. The other end. because, yeah, I know that was probably pretty gross if you actually listen to me. So, but other than that, I want you to all have a great day. Here are the links. There we go. They're in the chat. I'll also have them in the description down below. That's it for today. Gotta go. My name is P Dog Night. And I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is P Dog Night. And thanks for watching today on the P Dog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P Dog Night, and I'm out of here.